Welcome back to Doctor's Homestead. This is Prepper Pantry Pick of the Week. If you've been with the channel for a while, you know every week we take you shopping with us. Pick out an item and talk about where it fits into your long-term food storage pantry. This week is a little bit different, and you may have noticed I got a pack of tomato seeds this week, and these are heirloom tomato seeds, and that's important. And I'm not just going to jump in and be like, hey, it's spring, get your seeds, start planting. I wanted to do the math, right? I like doing math, a lot of math on the channel. So here's our scenario, right, is what if this was all you had? Well, this is all you had in your long-term food storage pantry. If your survival depended on this pack of seeds, this pack of tomato seeds, how are you doing? How well are you going to do, right? What's that mean? How do you turn this into food, right? We're going to get into that. I'm not talking about gardening tips, so may have misdirected there, but how much food do you have there, right? What does a pack of tomato seeds get you? And you might be surprised at the end. I was actually surprised at the end. I might start a business selling seeds after I did this math here. So let's jump into it, get into what I'm talking about here. So this is back to the roots, tomato, beefsteak seeds, USA seeds, organic seeds, heirloom seeds. As I said, heirloom is important. So on the back it says these are indeterminate vining. There's determinate seeds and indeterminate seeds. It doesn't matter a lot for this conversation, but generally determinate seeds are only going to get so big, indeterminate will continue growing. So that could make the math a little fuzzy, but it's not going to matter when we get to the end, and I'll walk you through it. So once again, heirloom. Why is heirloom important? It says heirloom on it. So when you're dealing with seeds, you plant the seeds, you grow your plants, you get your tomatoes, you eat your tomatoes, right? If you want to save the seeds from those tomatoes and grow more plants, heirloom seeds are the ones that are going to grow true, which means you'll get the same beefsteak tomato, theoretically. Non-heirloom, you might not, and we've struggled with that in the past. So for this experiment, this thought experiment, heirloom's important. So let's talk about this. This is 100 milligrams of seeds. That's what it said on the container. You can see I opened it and I counted them, right? I counted them. You get 52 seeds in the packet, and we said that was $2.98 for 52 seeds. That's going to come up again later on. I'm going to blow your mind probably. It blew my mind. So germination, let's talk about germination. You got 52 seeds. You're hungry. Hopefully you're not hungry. This is going to take some time. So you got your 52 seeds. Germination on seeds, they could say, could be 90%. Drops to 50% over time. Seeds may be good for 6 years if they're stored properly. Cool, dry place. Dry is important. You don't want them getting wet. We're going to do 50%. So if you look on the back of the packet, it says plant 2 to 3 seeds per starter pot indoors 4 to 6 weeks before transplanting. Thin to 1 plant per pot. So 2 to 3 seeds. We're going to go with 2. We're going to be a little generous. Won't matter at the end when we're done. So for $2.97, 52 seeds, that gets you 26 plants at 2 per. If you want to change the numbers up, that's okay. So once we get to the end, it won't matter. So 75 days to harvest. And that's where the indeterminate comes in, and the numbers get a little rough because you might live in a place that has a longer growing season. You might have a short growing season. We're going to try to average all that out as we're going here, and we're going to be super conservative. I mean, one thing with gardening, even big scale farms, it's always possible to get nothing. You might spend a lot of time and money and do your plants and get nothing. It actually happens, right? There could be a storm, could be frost, could be locusts, right? It's always possible to get nothing. So here we go. All right. The highest yielding indeterminate beefsteak tomatoes, which is what these are, will get you 25 plus pounds of fruit if you do everything right. So 25 pounds of fruit per plant, 26 plants. But the average gardener will get less than 5 pounds from each plant. Possible to get more, possible to get nothing. For this math, I'm going to do 5 pounds. So what we're saying is 52 seeds, 26 plants, 5 pounds of tomatoes per plant, right? That's an average. It's a low average, right? 5 pounds, could be 25. You might get 50. Believe me, by the end of the video, it won't matter. But we're going to say 5 pounds. I feel like we're being conservative there. So the package says 10 to 20 ounce fruit size, right? 10 to 20 ounce. So each tomato is going to be 10 to 20 ounces, 5 pounds of tomatoes. We're going to go 15 ounces. That's in the middle of 10 to 20. Shouldn't matter too much, right? But we need a number. So the average of 5 pounds per plant divided by 15 ounces per tomato gets you 5.33 tomatoes per plant. So we're saying you get about 5 tomatoes per plant, right? Times 26 plants. So if you had your 26 plants, 52 seeds, 26 plants, 5 pounds per plant, 15 ounces per tomato, gets you 5 tomatoes per plant, times 26 plants. So you've done your harvest, you did everything right, you got 5 pounds, that got you 138.6 tomatoes. 138 tomatoes, right? 15 ounces of tomatoes. Now, after 75 days, once again, your growing season could be different, could be indeterminate, could be more, right? Once again, won't matter. So one medium tomato, you've got 138 tomatoes, you did your growing, you did your harvesting, you've got this packet of seeds, and you now have 138 tomatoes on your table, right? Great job, right? You got 138 tomatoes. So one medium tomato, and we're going to call them medium, gets you 5 grams of carbs, 1 gram of protein, 25 calories. So 138 tomatoes gets you 3,450 calories, 690 grams of carbs, 138 grams of protein. So you got your 138 tomatoes, you turned your seed packet into 138 tomatoes. Great job. That got you 3,450 calories, maybe 2 days worth of food. And once again, if you want to 10x that and say I get 50 pounds per plant, okay, you got 20 days worth of food. Once again, after the next step, it won't matter. Great job. So a pack of seeds, $2.97, got you 138 tomatoes, right? 2 days worth of food. You could get more, you could get nothing. But this is where it gets important, right? And this is where the survival side comes in from this one pack of seeds. And we'll talk about how much they're ripping you off, honestly. I hate to say it, nothing against that company. Maybe there's something I'm missing. Okay. Well, we need a second harvest, right? We got to go to round 2, and this is where we get into exponential growth. So I looked it up. For beefsteak tomatoes, on average, you get 150 to 300 seeds per fruit, per tomato. 150 to 300. We're going to call it 225. That's in the middle. It's not the best. It's not the lowest. It's in the middle. 225 seeds per tomato. So we'll pause for a second. So I paid $297 for 52 seeds, counted them out. I just said you get 225 seeds per tomato. So what we're saying is a tomato, a beefsteak tomato average size is actually $12.85 worth of seeds, right? Which is kind of weird, right? They're kind of like, why are you charging me effectively $12.85 for a tomato? So you take your tomato, you break it open, you actually got $12 worth of seeds. So something doesn't work out there, right? I think maybe they're overcharging a little bit, but that's not the point of the video. So 225 seeds per tomato times 138 tomatoes means you now have, if you seed save, 31,050 seeds, right? So you took your 138 tomatoes that you grew from your packet of seeds, you break them all down, you save all the little seeds, we're doing average amounts of seeds, you now have 31,000 seeds, 31,050 seeds, carefully laid out and dried and prepared. So 31,000 seeds equals 15,525 tomato plants on your next harvest. So 2 per plant. So we said 2 seeds per pot, 2 to 3. I'm going 2. Use any math you want. 31,000 seeds divided by 2, you lay them all out, you now have 15,525 tomato plants on the second harvest, right? And that could be the second year, it could be later in the same year. I'm not going too much into that because that's very dependent on your geography and your weather and all that. We'll call it the second harvest. Could be the second year, right? So first year you got 138 tomatoes. Second year, we're starting with 15,500 tomato plants because we saved all our little seeds. So we germinate, we harvest. Now you're going to need some land, right? You're going to need some space to plant your 15,500 tomato plants. But we germinate, we harvest, love, care, take care of them. Everything's perfect. Well, we're going to get 5 pounds. 5 pounds of tomato per plant. Once again, that's a low number. That's a low number, 5 pounds of tomatoes per plant, times 15,525 plants, because we saved our seeds. You now have 77,626 pounds of tomatoes on the second harvest. We could call it the second year if you want. So, 77,626 pounds of tomatoes. We said average size is 15 ounces per tomato, using an average. So you now have 82,800 tomatoes on this second year, second harvest. And we said 25 calories per tomato, which is the average there. So you have 2,070,000 calories worth of tomato on your second year, because you saved this, you planted your plants, you grew your tomato plants, you got your 5 pounds per plant, you brought that back, you stripped all the seeds out, right? And now you're on your second harvest, way more plants. You now have 82,800 tomatoes, right? At 25 calories per tomato. So that works out to 2,070,000 calories. So if you divide that by 2,000, saying your average diet's 2,000 calories, you now have 1,035 days worth of food. And that's 5 pounds per plant. If you want to multiply by that 10, that's fine. But on your second year, on your second harvest, you now have 1,000 days, right? You've got almost 3 years worth of food for that second year. Obviously, you have to can it. You have to preserve it. Now, if you did want to break it down into seeds, you want to seed save again because you're going to need another year. If you broke it all down, if you broke down 82,800 tomatoes into seeds, you have 18,630,000 seeds, and that's 5 pounds per plant, 50% viability. So 52 seeds per pack. $2.97 per pack, which is what I paid for 52 seeds. It's $1 million worth of seeds on year 2. But it's also 1,000 days worth of food. So if your plan is to garden, right, if you have enough food stored away, if there's an Shtf situation, or if you just like gardening, you can start with 1 pack of seeds, and by the second year, assuming you get more than zero is always possible, you're talking about 1,000 days worth of food. You're talking about $1 million worth of seeds from this 1 packet, 2 years. So it was interesting. It was an interesting journey as I sat down and did the math. I think they're grossly overcharging us for the seeds, but maybe I'm oversimplifying the situation. So it takes land. Obviously, it takes land to do 15,000 plants. You're not just doing that in a small backyard. But if you had to survive and all you had was this 1 pack of seeds, if you had enough food stashed away to get you to year 2 or harvest 2, you're self-sufficient at that point. Making a lot of assumptions, of course, but self-sufficient from this 1 pack. 1 pack of seeds, say 2 years to harvest. So I hope that helped out, right? I thought it was interesting going through the numbers. So as always, thank you for watching, and we appreciate you.